All right. That was some good basketball talk. But it's time. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Meat on the 50. It is that time of the week for our review episode. We are going to talk about, break down, and discuss some of the action that we saw last week in the NFL. So let's start the show. Welcome back to another episode of Meat on the 50. It is our review episode. Yes, we are going to talk about just some of the action that we saw this past week in the NFL, and we saw some good action, that's for sure. We saw a lot of close games, a lot of interesting games, and a lot of decent matchups, right? But there's only one person that helps me break it down. He is always with me to do it. One of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was good to see family, and it was good to watch some good games. And yeah, I had a good time. How about you?
Yeah, my Thanksgiving was very nice and relaxed. Good football. Yeah, not much more I could ask for. Very laid back, very chill. Got some good food in me. Very good spread, I might add. And yeah, very good Thanksgiving. I would say I'm on this year. Simple, easy, relaxed. Love it. We're moving on. Let's get right into the action because we're done with Thanksgiving, right? We are moving on to the action, though, that we saw. So let's just show the people how we did last week. Let's put it up on the screen. We're going to start with myself because we'll give you the praise this week. Looking at how we did this week for myself, I was going to start with you, even though I want you to go second. For myself, 10-6, 1-0 on the guaranteed victory, baby. That's right. The Bengals, son, handling business, son, handling business against the Titans. But for yourself, having a solid week, 11-5, 1-0 on the guaranteed victory. The Dolphins absolutely handling business at home, guaranteeing the victory for you, adding it to your season total. So let's just show them what the season totals are. And we did it. We're there. We have cracked 100 wins for the season. Each of us, for yourself, 103, 76 and 1, 9 and 3 on the guaranteed victories. For myself, 106, 73 and 1, 9, 2 and 1 on the guaranteed victories. So, just for reference, I looked it up last year. Little fun fact for you. We are only 2 wins off of where we were last year. So if that says one thing, it just says consistent right there. We are consistent and we are handling business. How you feeling getting over 100 wins?
Yeah, another solid year, right? Just shows that, we just keep nailing those picks. And I'm ready to do some parlays.
I like it, right? 11-5 last week, solid.
Still searching for my perfect week.
We got another week in front of us, but we're not there yet. So let's just wipe those records off the screen because we got some action to talk about. So we always start with this game, but let's be honest, right? There's not much that needs to be said about what we saw on Monday. Good competitive game between bad teams, but is there anything that we need to talk about from the Monday night game?
I don't know. You tell me. I did not watch a second of it. I had zero interest.
There we go. So that is your answer. Not much to talk about. Jeff Saturday dropping another game, unfortunately, admitting that he should have called a timeout. Matt Ryan almost coming in clutch, but can't quite pull it off. Kenny Pickett, we'll see what happens there with the Steelers, but the Steelers possibly may not have that losing season just yet with that win on Monday night. As far as the game goes, good, like I said, good competitive game against bad teams. We're done with that game. We're moving on to Turkey Day because we had some solid games in front of us. Well, for the most part, we were treated to some good games. We saw the Lions almost pull off a Thanksgiving Day miracle and upset the Buffalo Bills, which would have just rattled the AFC East standings to the core. It would have been crazy. The Giants and the Cowboys, kind of a snoozer. It was kind of a snoozer till the end. Giants made it somewhat competitive, but other than that, nothing really exciting about that. Although the Giants seem to be falling off. They seem to be the team on a downward trend in the NFC East, while everybody else looks to be going upwards in that division. So that is something to watch. They just need more, though. They just need some more pieces. We'll see what happens with Odell, this Odell saga. We'll see what happens where he chooses. I would be shocked if he picked the Giants, but you never know, right? The last thing that we saw was a odd matchup between the Patriots and the Vikings, right? In the end, like we thought, the Vikings handled business at home, keeping pace, right, with the Eagles, number one seed for that number one seed in the NFC, right? We'll see what happens there. But your thoughts? What did you think of what we saw on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, there were some pretty good games. The Buffalo Bills game, the Lions game was probably the best game. It's, it came down to the wire.
Yeah.
Give the Lions credit. They've come out and they've shown resiliency.
Yeah.
And they've some tough losses they've had this year. So, but give them credit for fighting. The Bills are definitely no pushover. They're a really good team, and so. I thought ultimately they'd come out on top. I didn't think it would be as close as it was, so I was a little bit surprised. But give Buffalo credit; they went in and handled business.
Yeah.
Like you had mentioned, I mean, the Cowboys. They certainly look like the team to beat right now in the NFC. I mean, you never know, but I'm interested to see that rematch between Dallas and Philadelphia. I think that'll be a good one, and that could potentially be a playoff game as well.
Yeah.
But the Giants at this point in time do appear to be paper tigers. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with them.
Yeah.
Still a solid record at 7-4. They just got to try to, get back in the win column. So we'll see what happens next week, and we'll see, how they play. And then obviously the Patriots and Viking game was pretty good. Give the Vikings credit. They bounced back after a pretty bad loss the week before to Dallas. And they had to get a win. They needed this one to stay on pace to try to at least compete with Philadelphia for that number one seed. So this was important for them to get. And I don't know. I'm starting to seem like Vikings always play at home, but
right. That's what I was noticing too. Yes, yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not the only one, but all in all, I'd give that slate of games a B.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. Yeah, I would agree. I think that's a solid grade for the games that we saw. Definitely Bills, Lions, definitely the highlight of the day. Great way to kick off the morning as well. A super competitive game. I mean, Jamal Williams, right? The Packers let him go for basically like paper clips and staples. But I mean, look at him go. He's leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns. So good for him. Good for the Lions. Competitive team. I mean, Jared Goff is not perfect, but you get a semi-better quarterback there in Detroit. Watch out. He might be able to make things happen. No disrespect to Jared Goff. He's doing a great job with what he has right now. But the Lions are definitely no slouch. They definitely have the pieces to be a solid team. So we'll see what happens with Detroit in the years to come, but definitely a solid game to kick us off on Thursday. The other two games, right? Good division game. And then, yeah, like we said, Vikings handling business at home. Moving on to Sunday morning. We had a lot of interesting stuff happen. I'm gonna give you a stat that's probably gonna blow your mind. We had the GOAT, Tom Brady, and the Bucs blow a fourth quarter lead with 2 minutes left or less for the first time in his career. Yes, career. Yeah, Tom blowing a fourth quarter lead with less than 2 minutes to go for the first time in his career. We had the Dolphins, like I mentioned earlier, we had the Dolphins absolutely handle business against the Houston Dumpster Fire Texans, sealing your guaranteed victory. Not much more you could ask for there. The Bears dropping their 5th consecutive game to the Mike White-led Jets. Mike White.
Way better than Zach Wilson.
I mean, man, oh man, what a performance, right? The Jets. Maybe they can turn it around with Mike White. We'll see what happens. The Commanders getting into the playoff picture with a solid win over Atlanta. The Panthers dominating the Donkeys.
10 points.
How can a team not score more than 10 points? I don't understand.
They can't hack it. They just cannot hack it. How is he not fired? That's just like the question. Like,
I don't understand.
I guess he's just like he's like a shield for you. You just throw all the negativity that you're going to throw at Rush. You got to blame it on Nathaniel Hackett. It's the shield. They need to fire him.
Not only are Broncos fans over the Broncos, not only are non-Broncos fans over the Broncos and Russ, but the Broncos players are over Russell Wilson. With one of the defensive linemen coming up to Russ and visibly yelling at him to be better. And he's a huge waste of money. But Russ could be cut in the offseason, only would cost them $30 million. I would do it if I was them. We'll see what happens, though.
I think they might let Russ. They probably will let Russ cook. So
they're going to let Russ burn down that stadium. That's what they're going to let him do. We saw the Jaguars pull off a great comeback. Trevor Lawrence's signature win in the NFL so far. Great victory by him. I'm going to be honest. The Ravens are just mediocre. They're just a mediocre team to me. I mean, they are good, but I don't know. Nothing about them screams contender, in my opinion. Right? Lastly, of course, we're going to talk about them. We had the Bengals, baby. My guaranteed victory. Handle business on the road, owning the Titans now. Even with their little baby cheap shots at the end, trying to take out my guy's linemen or my guy's knees. Tennessee, just hold the L, handle business, right? You got handled again. Your linemen clearly don't know the rules. Stacking on my guy Clark Harris. We already know how important long snappers are. Why are you trying to hurt my guy Clark? Okay, I don't understand it, but I'll let Ted Karras, as he walk off the field, let you know how he feels. Right?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Right up yours, Tennessee. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Great win for the Bengals. Your thoughts on the action, the just what we saw on Sunday morning. We had some good games, we had some ugly games. What'd you think?
Yeah, Sunday morning games they were pretty entertaining. Like you said, I mean, you mentioned that Ravens and Jaguars game, we were texting back and forth. I didn't think any way in hell the Ravens were going to blow that, but
some begging, dude.
They found a way to, and at the end of the day, you were doing some real begging, and it, like you said, it paid off. And Trevor Lawrence, I've always said it, he's that one quarterback from that draft class that's not going to be a bust.
You did say it.
He definitely came through and showed how clutch he can be.
Yeah.
We witnessed it together when he was in college.
Yeah.
We watched Trevor versus Joey. It was an amazing game over there at Stuffed Pizza. We had some really good IPAs and some really good pizza. So, I mean, at the end of the day, shouts out to Trevor Lawrence getting that done. I don't like the Ravens. I never have. They beat my team in the Super Bowl a decade ago. I could never like the Ravens ever. Just a huge win for them because, the Ravens had a lead and they blew it late. And so, was not surprised about Denver at all. I didn't think Denver would score more than 10 points and I thought Carolina would. Therefore, that results in a victory. Carolina Panthers, good job. I do not like Russell Wilson at all.
Yeah.
I cannot stand him. I'm so glad he's on another team, and I'm so glad he's sucking on another team. Good win for the Commanders. That was another one that I was kind of keeping an eye on. But yeah, I mean, I have to say it. I do think, obviously, this is going to be Tom Brady's last season. I do think that he is done. I think that, going through what he's going through in his personal life with the divorce, I can't imagine. I've seen people go through it. I think it's a terrible time to be going through that type of situation, just right in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
I mean, I compare it to, when I had a really big breakup, I was in college. And it was really, really hard for me to focus for a while. I wasn't doing good on tests, things like that, because of just that whole situation. I mean, you go from, having somebody like all the time in your life to and having a certain support system and having a certain system to not having it at all or having very little. So I just look back and I'm like, that's a very big milestone as far as like a negative one in his life where it's like bad timing.
Yeah.
And I just think that I don't think he has anything more to prove. He's won 7 Super Bowls. I think he understands how hard it is going to be for him to get over the hump again.
Yeah.
I know he has the pieces in place, but it's like at this point, do you play another season? Do you risk hurting yourself? You are getting older. It sucks for me to say it because I've loved Tom Brady his entire career.
Yeah.
I love Tom Brady since the Super Bowl in 2001 when they beat the Rams. Because I'm a 49ers fan. Obviously, I didn't like the greatest show on turf. Yeah. I was not a fan. Also, I was upset they beat Tennessee and my guy, Eddie George. I'm so glad that he got that revenge. My thing is it kind of feels like I'm putting my dog to sleep. That's what it feels like. And so it's unfortunate. But I don't think Tom Brady's coming back. But to put a cherry on top of everything, excellent win for the Bengals. Yeah. Everything went your way Sunday. The Ravens took a big L.
Yeah.
The Bengals came up with a big dub on the road. I didn't think they were going to win, but they surprised me, even without Jamar. So I think the Bengals are going to win that division.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, the morning games definitely had some excitement attached to it. Capped off with the Bengals victory over the Titans, in my opinion. Definitely was a great game. I mean, defensive game came down to the wire, but the Bengals getting the job done. Love to see it. Moving on to the afternoon games, and we had some good ones in the afternoon too. It was a good week of football, in my opinion. I mean, I thought it turned out to be good, right? But what did we see? We saw the Chiefs dominate the Lambs. I feel like everybody is gone off that team now. Matt Stafford injured, Allen Robinson now out for the season, Cooper Kupp basically out for the season, Darrell Henderson being waived. The Rams, I mean, Rams look to be finished this year. We'll see what happens next year, but the Lambs not doing anything this season. And honestly, again, I'll say it, we both love to see it, right? The 49ers, the best team in the NFL, the 49ers. Their defense now has 94 consecutive minutes of shutout football, absolutely dominating. And if you want to see what domination is, look at the San Francisco 49er defense. That is domination. But what else did we see? We saw the Chargers roll the dice and go for a 2-point conversion instead of sending the game into overtime and actually completing it. Chargers doing the most Charger thing in the world, going for a 2-point conversion, and it somehow actually worked out for them, pulling off the victory over the Cardinals. Dunzo. Finito. Cliff Kingsbury. Done. Adios, amigo. You're out of here, pretty sure. I mean, if not, enjoy sucking, Cardinals. That's basically what I have to say to you. Lastly, I can't believe it, we saw the Raiders go into overtime with the Seahawks. And again, for the second consecutive week, we had a walk-off overtime touchdown. But wait, Nobody saw it because CBS didn't pick up the feed. So for those of you lucky few who actually got to see the game-winning touchdown, congratulations. For those of you who didn't, you're welcome.
Jacobs with running room right up the middle. Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game.
The Raiders walk it off again. Walk it off again. Josh Jacobs setting a franchise record for rushing. What a Sunday for the Raiders. What a good win for the Raiders. What a good win for you. What a good win for a Niners fan, right?
Right.
Could we see them start to pull away in this division? Yes, it's about to happen. The Niners are about to pull away, and here is the hot take of the video. Is everybody ready? The San Francisco 49ers will end up with the 1 seed. Boom! Said it. It is out there. San Francisco 49ers are going to end up with the 1 seed. I'm calling it now. Some things need to happen, but I am calling it now. Your thoughts on what we saw on the afternoon or in the afternoon?
There were some, obviously the Rams and Chiefs garbage. I mean, you already knew it was going to happen. The Chiefs are at home.
Yep.
They don't, I feel like they only have 18 regular season games. I feel like they play 25 games at home. So
yeah.
They're another team.
A lot of teams play a lot of games at home this year, like you've noticed.
Yeah. And so it's weird. It is so weird, but didn't care. They already knew the result, so I didn't even tune into that. Saints 49ers. Yeah. I mean, I think that's 3 or 4 straight games that they've shut opponents out in the second half. That's, I don't know if I've ever seen that as a 49ers fan or my team do that. Just love the intensity that they're playing with. I mean, you look at in that game, you look at Alvin Kamara going for that touchdown, and this Talanoa Hufanga just with the awareness of going in and just lowering that shoulder into the football, and just plunging it out at the 1 yard line, and then that's another goal line stand, and then Bosa getting that sack at the end. I think they kind of let it go. I mean, he was like a millisecond like over the line or whatever, but I feel like they were holding him the whole game. Like if you pay attention to the trenches, like Bosa gets held like around the neck like often, and like he's like a cheat code. I mean, it's the same thing with Aaron Donald. Like if you're not holding these dudes, they're gonna be your quarterback. That's why he's got the most pressures in the NFL. I mean, as far as Bosa. So Bosa, definitely a candidate in my opinion. Not even as a Niners fan, taking my Niners fan cap off, and just as an NFL fan, definitely should be at the top of the power rankings for a defensive player of the year.
Okay.
He has been having a tremendous season. Fred Warner playing sideline to sideline, also forcing a fumble. It was Alvin Kamara's first time that he had 2 fumbles in one game. So I'm glad you highlighted the defense. The Saints have not been shut out since 2002. It's been 20 years. The last team to shut them out, the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. And so the last 4 times the Saints have been shut out, it's been the 49ers. So, but 20 years the Saints have not been shut out. So it's not a tall task to hold them to 0 points.
Yeah.
Good for the 49ers. I was super happy. Not a pretty win, but not ugly. Not ugly, just kind of just not that.
Got the job done.
You got the 13-0.
Yep.
You held up the donut. They did what they needed to do.
Yep.
And, unfortunately, Elijah Mitchell's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So next man up, that's going to be tough. Losing him.
I like that Mason kid.
Jordan Mason, we're going to see what he's got. But if you think about the 49ers running backs, you got Breida on a team. You got JaMychal Hasty coming through with the Jaguars last week.
True.
You got Raheem the Dream Mostert, and
Jeff Wilson. Yep.
Our running backs are everywhere, and it's because of Kyle Shanahan. So, and our player development, and obviously our practice squad and things like that. But I'm interested to see what Jordan Mason can do. Right?
Yep.
Elijah Mitchell is going to be a hard back to replace. get healthy, Elijah. We want to see you in the playoffs. But last but not least, the one time every 4 years that I get to root for the Raiders. And this time,
They came through.
They came through for me. Thank you, Raiders. And it's like when obviously there's a rivalry between the 49ers and the Raiders our whole life. I mean, it's not even like a Bay thing anymore because they're in Vegas. But like, I have friends that are Raider fans. I have friends that are Niners fans. We've always talked shit to each other. That's how it's always been. But when it comes to the Raiders and watching them against the Seahawks, there's no question who I'm going for. And I was ecstatic when Jacobs broke off that run. I even called my friend and I was like, dude, we had a long conversation about it. And I was like, that's huge. Sets them back a little bit. We're just trying to get that separation now from them because they tend to linger.
They're lingering. Yep.
And so them lingerers. And so thank you, Raiders, for a huge win and upsetting Seattle in there on their home field. Oh man, it was glorious looking at some of those Seahawks fans at the end of the game, dude. Like just shocked that he just rattled off an 86-yard run, dude. Seattle has to have the worst run defense in the NFL. I mean, give credit to Josh Jacobs. In my opinion, he's a top 3 running back in the NFL.
It's really good.
Top 5.
Yeah.
But 250 yards.
Yeah.
That defensive line is so bad.
True.
What do you think that Christian McCaffrey's going to do to you in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to do to you?
True. I mean, Josh Jacobs, performance of his lifetime. Pay the man, Raiders, right? Or someone else will gladly pay him in this offseason. I mean, great win, like you said, for the Raiders. Much needed win, back-to-back overtime wins for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think it's going to save their season, but salvage, quite possibly. Quite possibly, right? Lastly, we saw our Sunday prime time game. We saw Aaron Rodgers suffer a rib injury that knocked him out of the game late. So who came a-knocking but his replacement in the near future, Jordan Love? And surprisingly, he did all right. He did pretty decent for being thrown in there late. He had that touchdown in there, kept the game somewhat competitive, right? He was able to get the game within 7 points. I'll tell you what, though, Christian Watson, right? Your boy Trey's favorite target back at North Dakota State. He looks like the real deal, going off these last 3 weeks. Now, I think it's now up to, I think he's up close to 10 touchdowns. He's at 10 touchdowns, which has more than like 6 or 7 teams in the NFL right now. So Christian Watson is looking solid right now as a receiver. But again, no surprise to really, I don't think anybody. The Eagles were able to outlast the Packers, right? Come away with that victory at home on Sunday night. And Philly improving to be the only one-loss team in the NFL, right? Your thoughts on what we saw on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I expected. I mean, I really didn't think the Green Bay Packers had a chance. I mean, you're going into a hostile environment, and then also you just don't have the weapons on either side of the ball. So it kind of went as I thought it would. I mean, some turnovers, and I just think Aaron Rodgers is going to look back with regret. I just think he's going to look back with regret that he did not try to make it happen with the 49ers, because it would have been a match made in heaven.
True.
If we would have got him.
True.
The year that the Rams got Stafford, it would have been a match made in heaven.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even this offseason,
we would have won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah,
we would have won the Super Bowl. There's nobody that can say that we would not have won the Super Bowl last year if we had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I would have been hard pressed to. Yeah, all right, that's true.
So
that's true.
Aaron, you should have came to the Niners, man. I know you got your ring in 2010. That's starting to collect dust 12 years ago. I'm just saying, made a mistake, bro. Like, You should have just came to the Niners, man. It's your childhood team. Get over the grudge that we didn't. We bounced you 4 times. We prevented you. We probably took 2 rings away from you. So
True.
My thing is you should have just came to the Niners. You got Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. I mean, now you'd have all artillery. You'd have freaking Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's true.
Brandon Ayuk. You have the best fullback in the league. I mean, you got the best left tackle in the league. You would have dominated if you would just. I can visualize you. And agree. I can just with the red long sleeves, like I can just visualize you on the 49ers. You made a mistake, bro. You made a mistake. So it is what it is. It's exactly as I thought it would be. The Eagles dominated, and the Packers, essentially, in my opinion, have been eliminated from playoff contention.
You heard the man. Enough said. That was week 12 in the NFL, because that is going to do it for this episode, this edition of Meat on the 50. As always, Brandon and I want to thank you, right, for taking the time for watching our videos, checking us out. We appreciate it, right? Whether you're a new viewer, returning viewer, we hope we have done enough to keep you coming back for more, because we are dropping content all season long. And as Brandon gives us his final thoughts, enjoy the current NFL playoff picture down below. But Brandon, any last words for the people?
We got some big games next week. Mm-hmm. Big games for you and me. So I can't wait to get into those and talk about those 2 matchups next week. And I'm just excited for both. That is going to do it. I'm excited for both. On to our picks episode. We're not gonna wait. We're not gonna wait any longer. Let's just get to our picks episode already. So that is going to do it for this edition of Meat on the 50. You know who he is. That is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. I am Jacob Carr, the fantasy guy. And until our picks episode, Brandon and Jake are out.